Welcome to episode numero 7 of Hollywood at Night. I'm your host, Hollywood AJ. This is our girl, Mrs. Allie. What's going on, Miss
What's
Allie?
up, guys? How you doing?
Doing good. The cold that everybody's had in Colorado over the past few days, past few weeks has got me. So I'm just recovering from that.
Yep.
And
Welcome to hell.
that's always fun. What about you? What have you been up to?
Same thing. I think we talked about it. I had that wonderful sickness that nobody knew what it was back in December, and I'm still dealing with just a little bit of stuff here and there. So I'm almost over it, but welcome to the
Well,
to the
that's good.
club.
It's literally hell on earth, and it is literally something out of a nightmare, similar to what we will be talking about right now, The Conjuring. Now, this is Ali. You have a theory as to how The Conjuring, essentially in layman's terms, is kind of bullshit. Is that right?
I mean, I would probably put it in a little bit of a nicer way, but yes. So a little bit of background, just like of me personally, what I like. I love talking about paranormal stuff. I am a huge fan of scary movies. Anything horror movie, I've probably seen it, whether it's, indie films, anything like that. I'm a massive horror movie fan. I'm actually writing a screenplay right now. I got hired to write a screenplay for an indie horror film.
Really?
So definitely in my wheelhouse. But when it comes to like
Okay.
drawing the line between what's real and what's Hollywood, I also love nitpicking that type of stuff too. So.
It is interesting. And to piggyback off of that, I've seen the Conjuring films here and there.
Mhm.
I always take my crosses and drink my holy water while I'm watching the movies and whatnot because your boy gets scared. I like the stuff when it's Halloween. You know what
Yes.
I mean? When it's Halloween and the spooky decorations are out, I'll watch my fair share of Conjuring movies and scary movies. But when I heard from you that we're going to be doing this movie review, I was like, dear, I got a little scared. So that's why all the lights are on in my house and they're going to stay on all night.
Yep.
And just something you said about, what's real and what's fake, some little nuggets about the movie from IMDb that I found interesting was that the film was shot in chronological order. And in the original cast, Ed and Lorraine were kicked out of the house as they were not able to help. The parents actually visited the set of The Conjuring. It was directed by James Wan, who also directed Fast and Furious 7. And another interesting thing that I saw, something pretty crazy now that I look at it, was let me see if I could bring it up here on IMDb. Yeah, so Joey King, who was in the movie, she says she contracted a blood disease during filming, and once they'd wrapped on the movie, her blood disease went away. And according to an interview with Howard Stern in 20, the disease was ITP, immune thrombosis. Try saying that 3 times.
Perfect.
This disease can last as little as a few weeks before going away on its own. Another interesting fact that I thought was pretty creepy was something about one of the cast members feeling this weird dark presence. And yeah, I just couldn't get over. I don't know how people film these movies, but I guess a paycheck is a paycheck, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but if you want to feel better about yourself when you're watching these movies, all you have to do is just YouTube like behind the scenes. And especially for The Conjuring, it's actually there's a lot of CGI involved now. So any horror movies that are
Well, yeah.
current are going to have a lot of CGI in it. And so if you want to feel better about the movie that you're watching, definitely go and YouTube or Google behind the scenes of making of these movies. It'll make you feel so much better because it's actually not, it doesn't look anything at all like what you see in the final cut. So, and it actually looks a little bit silly. So if you're ever too scared at night, go do that. I promise it'll make you feel better.
Or you could also just watch Disney Channel as soon as you're
Nope.
done.
Nope, that's for the weak. Don't tell my kids that. It's for the
I
weak.
I am for the weak. I am for the weak
No, and I was
when
actually
it comes to
telling
this.
I was telling you, AJ, before we started that tonight,
Yeah.
specifically talking about this because we were writing and talking about it
Uh-huh.
throughout the week, but before we recorded, specifically tonight, my son wanted to play Ghost Hunters upstairs and had all the lights off and
Yes.
ready to go. And again, I told you I don't know whether to be scared or proud of him because it was we had a lot of fun playing Ghost Hunters.
I
So
mean, I would be proud in the sense that he's picked up on a lot of your
I
tendencies.
think, And just
I
disclaimer,
would
I
I
do
would be
not let my
proud of
kids
that.
watch scary movies. Okay, guys? They're not allowed to watch scary movies. They're too young for that. But he's probably
Yeah, don't come
picked
at
up,
her, guys.
yeah, just picked up some fascinations, which again, I at that age, he's 5. So when I was that age, that's kind of where it started for me too.
Yeah, my first scary movie, I don't know if you classify it as a scary movie. I was 13 and it was The Purge. To me, that was scary. I like the Purge franchise. I don't
Yeah, me
know,
too.
again,
Actually,
if it
I
falls,
like those movies.
I don't know if it falls under the horror genre or what, but I think it's one of my favorite franchises. Found another creepy fact.
Let's
Director
hear it.
James Wan was working on the script one late night. He had just adopted a new puppy who started staring at a supposedly empty side of the room and began to growl aggressively. Wan stated that his dog's head then followed something all across the room, but he did not see anything.
Well, I mean, when we get into this, we're going to uncover, and again, this is why this is probably my one of my favorite franchises. I wouldn't even say the franchise specifically is my favorite. The first Conjuring movie is probably top 5 of one of my favorite scary movies, and
Uh
it's
huh.
because it is based on a true story. So, and
Let's
we'll,
get into it.
yeah, we'll dig a little bit deeper here in a second, but keep that in mind based off of true stories.
So why don't you just give people an overview of the entire story as a whole in a nutshell for those
Okay.
who may not know the true story of what it is?
Yeah, so the actual story, it follows the Perrin family. So I don't know if it's Perron or Perrin. I'm going to say Perrin because I think that's what it is.
I'm gonna say
Um,
parent too.
so we'll just say Perrin. Again, if we need to correct it, we'll just do so in the comments. No big deal. But just follows the family. So Roger, Carolyn are the parents. So Roger's the father, Carolyn's the mom. And then they had 5 daughters. So they had Andrea, who was at this time, she was 15 years old. And then Andrea was the 15-year-old. And then Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April was the youngest daughter. A lot of the
Okay.
stuff, the happenings, the paranormal stuff that was happening in the house happened around Carolyn, the mom, and the youngest daughter, April.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
basically, just a synopsis for you guys. So I'm probably 100% positive that almost everybody has seen this movie. But this was in 1971, so this was definitely before times of, just like basic things that we had, like microwaves and stuff like that. So when we get through the story, we hear some stuff talking about like they were heating up soup like on a stove or something like that. It was before that time. But they actually lived in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Now I have seen other, I wouldn't say news clips, but like the most of the story comes from Andrea, so she does say Harrisville, but I have heard other people say it's a different town, but I want to say it's Harrisville, Rhode Island. They actually moved. So in 1971, they moved into a 14-room farmhouse. Now, the reason that they did this is, I mean, obviously, family is huge, really big family. There's, 7 people, 5 daughters. But the mom, Carolyn, she was mostly excited for this because she grew up on a farm. So I think she wanted to give her children kind of like the farmhouse experience, kind of living away from the city. You're talking about the 70s where a lot of city urban life was coming into the picture. So people,
Yeah.
flocking to like New York, the bigger cities, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But she wanted a really good, like, homestead type of feel for her family.
Correct.
Now, the mom specifically, so the story is actually revolved around the mother. Now, when we talk about the paranormal stuff that's happening, so like the ghosts, if you want to call them ghosts, or you can call them, spirits, whatever you want to. It did happen with April too, so the youngest daughter, which if you don't really know anything specific about paranormal happenings, it does usually happen with people who are more susceptible to it. So younger kids, kids can see something, they have really big imaginations and they're very open to the world type of thing. You don't hear a lot of stories about people who are like, oh, hey, I was like 12 and this happened. It's probably a little bit younger than that.
Yeah.
So I think
I was
April is one of the high.
33 and I saw this.
I mean, I'm 36. Like, let's do it. Like, I want to see some stuff. But but April was, I think she was 5 years old around this time. So and we'll talk
Okay.
about that here a little bit. But just a synopsis, family moves. They're a huge, close-knit family. Dad in the movie is his occupation in the movie was that he was a truck driver. But the real life story, he was actually a salesman. So he did a lot of sales,
Hmm.
like trunk sales. So like he did like jewelry sales, basically anything that he could sell. That's what he was doing. So just think about it though. 1971, a occupation home where the husband was the only one working and he was making a living to live in this 14-room farmhouse off of his salary alone. So that is just, I can't
Which
even
was probably
imagine
like
that
only
time.
$200.
Yeah. I know
Probably
that
only $200.
I listened to a podcast that Andrea Perron was on, and or Perrin, and she was talking about how back then, the socioeconomic feel of the US, they were going through turmoil back then too. So she does kind of equate it to like the COVID pandemic. So she was talking about how,
Okay.
people ask like, hey, if all this stuff was happening in your house, why didn't you guys just get up and leave? And it's just if you guys can think about it right now to how kind of things are a little bit crazy economic wise. If you own a home, like I own my home, we're not just going to pick up and leave. Like my money is in my house. So
Sure.
you can't just be like, okay, buy house. It's not doable.
Yeah.
So, and I don't,
No, no.
and I don't
Even
understand.
though, even though it, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't understand that question anyway. And I think even if you're renting, like think about just renting an apartment, like you sign like a 12-month lease, stuff starts happening. Like it's not something that you can really just pick up and break your lease and get out of. So
I think people see the whole paranoia, paranormal stuff, and they're just like, no, 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 you just need to get out,
yeah,
especially if you have kids. No matter what you're doing, you just need to get out. Forget the mortgage, forget the property tax, just go. And
yeah.
honestly, I would too, but when you add in those logistics, yeah, you're kind of stuck there.
Yeah. And again, obviously I haven't had anything happen in my house, thank God. But so I can't really put myself in that position. But I mean, you're talking about a one income family, a family of seven, that just
Yeah.
purchased this house. Everything is tied up in this house. At the time, who's going to believe you? You can't really, go to your mortgage company and be like, hey, there's paranormal stuff happening. I can't pay my
No,
mortgage
exactly.
anymore. So,
Exactly. So what basically happened paranormal wise that made this story so viral that it got a movie out of it?
so yeah, so actually if you want to even talk about viral happening even back in the 70s, so actually it happened within 5 minutes of them first moving in, the first actual paranormal sighting happened. So the oldest daughter, Andrea, and again, if anybody is interested in this, like she has books out of what happened. She does podcasts
Oh,
all the
I'm
time.
sure.
So and she's a great source. So if anybody wants to Google that, we can put some links if anybody wants
For
that.
sure,
But
for sure.
so
Definitely.
she said they moved in. This was January 1971. So think of January 1971, Rhode Island. This was during probably either a snowstorm or an ice storm. She said that specifically, she was 15. She was moving boxes from the truck to the kitchen to give to her mom. And she says that she recalls speaking with the previous owner. So the previous owner's name was Mr. Kenyon. He was also in the house and he was finishing packing up his stuff so they could move in. So there's just one person there from the previous owner, and then it's the daughters and the mom that are moving stuff in. So
Okay.
she said that they were finishing packing up stuff. She went in to talk to Mr. Kenyon. He was in the dining room, or I'm sorry, the living room. So she had a short conversation with him and turned to take the box into the kitchen that she brought from the truck. And as soon as she turned around, she saw a man standing in the corner of the living room. And she was like, and it looked like just a physical being, like another person just standing there. And it's moving day. So maybe she's thinking, like, oh, this could be like Mr. Kenyon's son, something like that. Um,
Okay.
so she basically didn't think anything of it. So when she brought the box to the kitchen, she asked her mom, who's that man that's in there? And her mom's like, it's Mr. Kenyon. She's like, no, I know Mr. Kenyon. Who's the other guy? And her
Yeah.
mom said, as far as I know, there's nobody else here. And so Andrea just shrugged it off, like, whatever. It's the first time anything like this is happening in their life. And
Okay.
the other daughters walk in, like, one after another, and ask the same question. Who is that man standing in the corner of the living room? Like, we know Mr. Kenyon. Who is this guy? Now, Andrea does explain this in her book and in a podcast that I listened to, that only the children were able to see this specific figure.
Huh.
and he would appear and then disappear and then appear again and then disappear. Now, the reason that this story specifically, this story, I wouldn't say blew up, but for some reason the neighbors and like surrounding area, maybe even the people in the town talked about it. So either Andrea was telling people at school, the other daughters were telling people at school, and then it kind of just blew up.
Yeah.
And so if you want to like something kind of went viral a little bit in their little hometown. Um,
Yeah. And I say viral because, you know, for lack of a better term, obviously. And at the same time, nobody knew, like, obviously there were ghost stories as far as way back as to the 50s, but no one knew the technology on what it took to actually expose them.
mhm,
And there wasn't anything as serious as this, especially in the United States of America, where we're like, okay, are there actual beings outside of this world threatening us? And
correct.
could it be like a epidemic of some sort? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of catches fire. So if you think about, I want to think at the top of my head, like the most famous one, like the Salem witch trials. If you think about something like that catches fire quickly. That's not, people talk about this and listen about this stuff all the time. I mean, ghost stories have been around since the beginning of time. So
Yeah.
the reason I love this stuff so much is because there are so many paranormal happenings happening, and people talk about it all the time. And until it really happens to you, I don't think you really believe it, or you're just like, oh, that's a fun ghost story. That's a fun story. But I don't think you really grasp like,
No.
is this real or not? Because it doesn't happen to everybody all the time. So
Yeah. Yeah. No. And I'm just hoping it doesn't happen to me. So,
we're
knock on
just
wood there.
talking about it. It's okay. It's all the way in Rhode Island. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. True. True. So, as they were, as the parent family was living in the house, what else started to happen? When did things really start to get thick for them? When they're like, okay, damn, we better call Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Correct. Yeah. So people, based off of the movie, so if you just watch the movie and you don't know any of the backstory, people think that Carolyn actually reached out to Ed and Lorraine Warren, but it was not the family that reached out to them. So a little bit of backstory quick on the house really fast because I think it's kind of, I don't know, like historically, like it's good to know. The specific house that they moved in was an actual colonial home. So if you don't sell homes for a living like I do, like a strict colonial home is something that's very, very rare. To find something that's been built since 1736 is kind of like a treasure. So you are going to find stuff like this built, probably in like the Rhode Island area, like back where like you still have like historical structures, okay? So this was built in
Yeah,
1736, so this was 40 years before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So if you kind of wrap that in your head, that was even before the US became the US that this home was built. Um,
crazy, crazy.
so my thinking with that is, of course, it's going to be haunted. Like I always kind of have that in the back of my mind, like so much history in that house. Like, and if you believe in
Yeah,
timelines and portals and stuff like that, I mean, that's like history. This is not just like some brand new build that, that you're living in for the first time. Um,
yeah.
now this one specifically, though, the backstory with the house, and actually, Carolyn, the mother, did the historic like exploration of the house. The home before they purchased it had been in the same family for 8 generations. And it was
Wow.
actually known as the Arnold's estate. Now, with that, though, she found newspaper clippings, she found a bunch of stuff that mentioned that a lot of the family members died under under mysterious or awful circumstances. So there
Hmm.
was kids that would drown in the lake that was on the property, which is shown in the movie. So there was a lake on the property, like circumstances that are not normal. Um,
Yes.
but when you think about it, though, the age of getting older was very rare during that time. If you're talking about the 1700s, like people were
Yeah.
living maybe till about 40, 45 years old.
Yeah.
Um,
Life expectancies were not how they
yeah,
are now.
it wasn't. But the oldest known person that was living on the property was a 93-year-old.
Jeez Louise.
And she acts, well, there's not really any evidence of this, but according to Andrea, she actually hung herself in the barn on the estate at 93 years
Ooh.
old. So I did question that a little bit. I'm like, that seems not likely. Um, but
Explain. Why do you think that's not likely?
well, she was 93 years old back in 1797 at this time. But the reason that she is actually a key part in the story, because in the Conjuring movie, Bathsheba, who was actually an actual human, she existed. They used her as the evil spirit that was haunting the house, when in all actuality, Andrea thinks that it was this Mrs. John Arnold that committed, S word in 1797. So that's why that's important.
Mm.
Again, if anybody wants to dig, it's super fascinating. But Andrea does explain that the hauntings started happening immediately when they were moving in. Um, they would see apparitions, things would be moved, lights would just turn off, clocks would stop at a certain time, which they do portray in the movie. And this was immediately when they moved in. And so she
Oof.
does name some of the spirits that haunted the house. So again, Bathsheba, she is the main ghost character in The Conjuring. She was a woman from the 1800s, and this is historically accurate, that was rumored to be a witch. She cursed the land after sacrificing her infant to the devil. She was perceived as the
Oh
primary
my goodness.
force. Now, this is kind of interesting because when you listen to Andrea talk about it, Andrea does not think that's what happened. She thinks that Bathsheba was just innocent, that she was a victim in like the storytelling. Now
Yeah.
she said that the spirit did, portray itself. There was an apparition of the spirit, but she doesn't think that it was the evil spirit that was haunting the house. Now with
Oof.
April, the youngest daughter, she played with a little ghost boy named Oliver. In the movie, it's called
Oh.
Rory, and that one
Oh.
is
Oh.
documented to be seen by everybody in the house. So this little boy named Rory, who actually
Even by the parents?
by the parents, yeah.
Oh no.
So, so this was April. This was like basically like her imaginary friend that people,
Okay.
of the family, they were like, okay, this is her imaginary friend.
And who the hell
Um,
was this little kid?
so it was linked. He did identify himself. So there are pictures, just FYI, out there of this little ghost boy. He did identify himself to investigators during the investigation period. And it was this name of this little boy was linked to the home's original builders. So it was like the son of the original family that owned the house. And he died under mysterious circumstances too.
And just been living in the afterlife,
Just living in the afterlife. Yeah.
if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I mean, if you want my
We,
take on it, if anybody cares about my two
yeah.
cents.
So no. So well, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So you said there were chains of events that caused them to get Ed in the rain, and
hmm
what's your take as to like what you think actually happened and what the movie portrayed?
So I might be called crazy, honestly, and that's fine. I think that, especially after listening to Andrea, because she just had first accounts of everything, I think this stuff actually happened. And not even that, if you want to go a little bit further than that, there were investigators there, just like shown in the movie. There were cinematographers there. There were, I think they called it audio something, people who basically dealt with like audio,
Because
like trying to catch voices and stuff like that.
Ed and Lorraine, they were like what? They were investigators of sorts, but at the same time, they were also weren't they documentary
Yeah, yeah.
people?
So at that time, so there were a lot of cases happening during this time. The Amityville Horror, one that was based in London. I can't remember the name, but it was all the Conjuring movies that you can think of. This was during kind of the same time. I think some happened in the 80s, some happened in the 70s.
Yeah,
But they were very big because Lorraine was a medium. So she was the one who was able to speak to the spirits or basically open the portal for them to speak, something like that. Ed, I
yeah.
would just say that he was strictly just there to document it and basically to be a support for Lorraine.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, my take on that, and this is kind of where I had to, the saying, kill your heroes type of thing. I used to be just super obsessed with Ed and Lorraine. They just have a lot of not good things about them right now. And we won't get into that. You guys can do your own research on that. But I used to just be obsessed with them. I think they had great intentions, but I also think that they also took an opportunity when they saw it. So
Well, sure, sure, because nobody else is doing that,
nobody else is
you
doing it.
know,
And
especially during that time when you don't think there's no answers to what's going on in your home, and you call these experts and they're like, okay, well, what do we do now? And they're just like, well, I don't know, but we got a paycheck and we're selling this to a movie studio, we're selling this to a TV station,
yeah.
so toodles, you
Now,
know.
during this time though, so a lot of like even just exorcists. So like if you suspect that one of your loved ones needs an exorcism, you cannot go through just a normal person to do that. You have to go through the Catholic Church. A lot of these people who Ed and Lorraine were introducing to the Catholic Church, just in the sense of like hiring somebody for an exorcism. So the reason they were so popular is they were bridging the gap between people who were not Catholic but needed help. And Ed and Lorraine
Gotcha.
were Catholic, so they were there, presenting all this evidence to the Pope or to the Catholic Church, whomever it was. And so I think that's actually why they became so famous, is because this wasn't just now in the Catholic Church. This was just like everyday normal people having these things happen to them. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but specifically when it came to a head, so just paraphrasing the happenings that were happening around the house, this happened for a decade. When Ed and Lorraine Warren were introduced to the picture, this was probably 3 years in. So, I mean, it's not like they were being tormented.
74.
Yeah, it was like 1974, somewhere around there. They weren't being tormented, but they were not experiencing normal everyday lives like people do. And
Okay.
so let's talk about the spirit who haunted Carolyn, because this is kind of where it came to a head, and what the whole Conjuring movie is based off of is this one incident that happened um, with Carolyn, the mom. So Ed and Lorraine Warren were actually contacted by a gentleman named Keith Johnson. He picked up the story, and he's the one who actually involved the Warrens. So he was a local paranormal investigator. So he was just a lower level version of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Um,
Okay.
so it actually was not Carolyn who asked for Ed and Lorraine's help. It was Keith Johnson who asked for their help.
Okay.
The crazy part about this, and kind of where it all came to a head, is that so Keith Johnson, when he was interviewed, he states that Carolyn was the one who reached out to him to reach out to the Warrens, but Carolyn had no recollection of this. She doesn't remember calling him, doesn't remember talking to him. So Andrea, the oldest daughter, she believes that the paranormal activity in the home is who reached out to Keith Johnson. So she thinks, I mean, not trying to make light of it, but like pick up a phone, like, "Hi, this is Carolyn. We need help in our
Huh.
house. Can you help us?" But Carolyn says
Yeah.
she did not do that. So Andrea
Okay.
thinks it was the spirit realm that connected them for him to come.
Interesting.
So again, you guys,
Okay.
everybody can think it's crazy all you want, I guess, until it happens to you. That sounds bonkers to me. Um, but
I
also,
mean, go ahead. I'll let you finish what you
I
were
was
gonna
just
say.
gonna say, Carolyn, she had amnesia during a lot of this time. So there were a lot of things that she did not remember. So maybe she was the one who did it. And Andrea just thinks, based off of her mom not remembering, that the spirits were involved. But again, she did have documented amnesia during the time living in this house.
Got it. Got it. Now you were gonna go and say the main instance as to the spirit that brought Ed and Lorraine here to
Hmm.
them. What was that incident?
So once Keith got them connected, basically the Warrens would come. It wasn't like it was in the movie. So the movie portrays as Ed and Lorraine Warren coming in and staying there and helping around the house, and maybe that did happen. But Ed and Lorraine were definitely set on getting in contact with these spirits. So Ed and Lorraine do state that they did see paranormal, stuff happening through the house that was not normal. A lot of it reported to be in the basement of the home. A lot of activity was down there, but they wanted to they were really pushing like a seance type of thing. So they were not even pushing like an exorcism. They didn't think that Carolyn was technically possessed, but they wanted to perform a seance. So they finally talked the family into performing a seance. And then this is
Mm.
where a lot of the happenings started. It hit like a like top at this time. Like
Oh,
this was like
okay.
where an actual like demon appeared during this time. So in the movie,
Ugh.
it shows that Carolyn, the mom, gets possessed by Bathsheba while she's sleeping. Okay, so great for Hollywood, great part of the movie. Love everything about it. Now, the whole movie
Yeah.
states that Bathsheba wanted to kill the youngest daughter, April. And so she had to possess the mom to be able to get to April. That's the movie portion of it. What actually happened was the Warrens performed a chaotic seance. So, a seance is you have a medium there, you usually have a priest present, you have the family present, and you basically reach out to the spirit realm, which is what they did. So, this part's crazy. Um,
Oh man.
so, they, according to Andrea, so this is actually according to Andrea, okay? So, kind of keep this in mind. So,
Okay.
they were sitting, basically, the mom said, girls go upstairs. One of the daughters was staying with a friend. All the four remaining daughters were there. Go upstairs. We're going to do this seance down here. Do not come out of your rooms. End of story. We don't want you to see this.
Okay.
Daughters come downstairs, of course, because they're kids. They want to know what's happening. They perform the seance. There's a priest, there's a medium who is speaking Latin to get the demon to appear. During the seance, they're at the dining room. Now, it's not a dining room table that we know of today. Like old dining room tables, I think if nobody's ever seen it, about 200 pounds. So it's not one of those like flimsy dining rooms that you
Yeah.
can,
Right,
it's
right, right, right.
massive. So during the seance, Carolyn is sitting at the table, everybody's sitting around her, and the dining room table starts levitating off of the ground. 200 pounds, documented,
Oh.
this happened, and then it drops
Oh.
and it left marks on the floor. And then the chair that Carolyn was sitting in starts levitating with her in it. Carolyn starts kind of like going into like a ball type of, I don't know how to like explain it, but like she like rolls into like a fetal position. Let's just say that. Her head flies
Okay.
back. She starts speaking a language that nobody knows what it is. And
What the
she
fuck?
basically, other stuff happens, but she's basically thrown across the room into the living room. Um, Everybody thought that it was such a hard throw that everybody thought that Carolyn passed away. Like they didn't think that she
Right.
survived the
Yeah.
throw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so she did get a concussion from that. And this is where
Yeah.
it all came to a head. So this was
Oof.
like what you see in the movie. Yes, it's a Hollywood version of it, but it was based around Carolyn because the spirit that was in the house, it was not Bathsheba. It was this other spirit. Basically, had the sights set on Carolyn, and so that's why everything kind of revolved around her. And so that was
So
the
would
seance.
so would you say that was the biggest thing that the movie got wrong? Was the fact that it was the wrong spirit, or
No, I mean, if you think about it, Bathsheba is such oh, I don't know, like demonic name. Like, if you heard that, I would think that's like a demon name, Bathsheba. So yes,
oh,
like
for sure.
you're creating a movie, like you're writing a movie. You don't want it not to be interesting. I'm not blaming them for that. So whenever you guys see a movie and it says based on a true story, the story is probably it's based off of what happened, but it's going to be Hollywood. I don't think
That
they
that
did
goes
anything
for
wrong.
that goes for every movie though, not
Yeah.
just for a horror movie. That goes for a crime movie. That goes for a
Hmm.
sports movie. That goes for even if it's like a biopic. Like there's always different things, and it's honestly not to change the subject, but it's the main reason why Straight Outta Compton caught so much flack from other
Hmm.
people that were involved in the story was because they're like, oh, well, that's not true. That's not
Yeah.
true. Okay, that's true, but that happened during this time, not that time. So I could see what you're saying about that. Were there any other instances that made you go like, okay, that aligns with the movie, but that doesn't align with what this person said?
Yeah, I mean, about 10% of the movie was correct. So and what people need
Only
to,
10%?
only 10% is what Andrea
Oh,
states. But people also need to kind of keep in the back of their mind that the family was on set during the filming of this movie. I mean, they got the go
they
ahead,
were.
to have this film. So I don't think anything, I wouldn't say that anything was malicious. I think they wanted to get their story out there. And you know what? It did. I mean, Andrea sold so many books of explaining this about her family. She even states that this is what she was made for, to get this story out here. And so it did its job. I mean, it's one of the highest grossing horror movies of all time. So no, I don't think any malicious intent behind it. The one thing that I don't like, I think that they really kind of, I don't know, sweetened up Ed and Lorraine. I don't think they were as like these like gentle people that people, I think they were opportunists. And I think that they dug their heels in and fingers into some of the craziest paranormal stories. And this is one of them. So,
For sure, for sure. Um, yeah, they definitely. I agree with your take on how they saw an opportunity to get rich, and they took that opportunity, and
yeah.
in a weird, ironic way, it was like they sold their souls to the devil in the sense that
Yeah.
okay, we're going to help expose
And you
the
know what? And
extra
I don't,
beings that
again,
we
I don't
have.
blame. It's not even like the worst thing that's even coming out about Ed and Lorraine Warren. If anybody's interested in
No,
knowing kind of the new stuff that's coming out, it's way worse than stealing somebody's story. So I'm not even gonna get into that. So no, I think
we'll have
that
to save
they,
that for a different day, huh?
I mean, if we have 4 hours, we can talk about it. But my take on it is that I used to have like the biggest just cinematic crush on Ed and Lorraine Warren, and you just have to again kill your heroes. You have to realize that these people are humans. Everybody's ready for an opportunity. But in their defense, they did help get this story out there, and it's one of my favorite stories of all time. So
So just a couple more things before we wrap it up. What would you say is the biggest thing that because you said the movie was only 10% correct, even
mhm.
though the family was on set and they gave the green light to everything. What would you say was the biggest event, at least in your opinion, that you, along with other people, think happened in the movie, probably happened in real life too, but it just wasn't the truth?
Well, I think they actually had a missed opportunity. So Andrea talks about the time. So just we're not going to get too into it because it's a lot, but Carolyn, after the seance, she kind of went into kind of this like really deep depression. I mean, how could you not? Like you were just,
Sure.
basically terrorized by a demon. And so Andrea kind of had to step up and kind of be the motherly figure in the house while Carolyn was figuring all this out. But there was this one point, and it was actually probably a year later, I think, from all of this. Carolyn talked about how she saw a family from the 1700s. It was like they were like looking at her like she was the ghost. So they were looking at Carolyn like she was the ghost. And so Carolyn had this like weird
Oof.
realization that she was in this like paranormal timeline. So like these ghosts weren't there for the family, they were like in this paradox type of thing. And
Ooh.
I think that would have been so cool to introduce into the movie. I think that would have been
That would.
like such a missed opportunity. And then Carolyn talks about this and with Andrea and Andrea's book. And that's just my biggest miss from the movie is I think that could have been put into the story in a really, really cool way.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, just final question. What it was announced a few weeks ago that the last Conjuring movie wasn't actually the last Conjuring movie, and that there's going to be a new one coming out next year called Communion Rights, I believe.
Hmm.
And they said that that's going to be the last one. Do you think that obviously the Conjuring stories went here, there, everywhere, but do you think it could tie into the family that it originally started with and tell more stories that it didn't really get to tell in this film?
I mean, I hope so. I hope that the parent family is not the last that we hear of them. I think their story, and again, we can talk about the other movies at some other time, but their story specifically is just one of the coolest paranormal stories in the world. It's just full of excitement. It's full of like dread, and it's like everything that you want in a paranormal experience. But in my opinion, they need to stop with the Conjuring movies. Like, my God, they just
I
keep
do
getting
too.
worse and worse and worse.
I
It's
do
so
too. I mean,
frustrating.
you, you could definitely tell Hollywood is trying to milk as much as they can out of it. Like,
Hmm.
so much so to the point where I just think they're coming up with new stories and they're just slapping the moniker of based on a true story just to
Yeah.
get more people intrigued by it. And the last one I saw was The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh, so awful.
Um it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
Well, the reason I think that they need to just
Did it
stop
scare the
is,
shit out of me? Yes, it
oh God.
did. So I guess it did its job. But
No,
you were
it's
go ahead,
so
you were saying.
bad. It's all CGI. It's so bad. I just with the first Conjuring movie, man, yes, did they have CGI? Did they have makeup? Yes. But my God, like it was so authentic and so good. It's
I
frustrating.
I already said last question, but here was a question I wanted to ask sooner. I forgot. What the hell did Annabelle have to do with The Conjuring?
Annabelle. So now you're talking about the
And
Conjuring
did
universe.
no. In the first movie, she was in The Conjuring. She had a little part, didn't she?
She did, yeah. So
But
the beginning of
but
The
it had nothing
Conjuring,
to but it had nothing to do with the parent family, right?
no, it just had
Okay,
everything to do to
got it.
set up for another movie, honestly.
Got it,
And
got
I
it,
think
got
they
it.
were also trying to, because it was during the same time, they were trying to set up Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Got
So
it.
you couldn't just introduce the Conjuring movie without kind of recognizing who the movie was about. So it wasn't technically about
Got it.
the Perron family, Perron, whatever. It is about Ed and Lorraine Warren is kind of what they mastered around it. So what they were doing was opening up a case, showing who Ed and Lorraine were, and then going into the second story.
Gotcha. We
Ah, but that's also another
lots
good
to
one. Annabelle.
digest.
Oh, I love these movies, except the further that they get, the worse that they get. So,
Yeah, and it's almost like you've seen one of them, you've seen them all.
yeah.
So
The first and the second Conjuring,
it's
if any, okay, for people who have not seen it, first and second Conjuring, first and second Annabelle, and then you can be done. Everything else sucks.
I agree. I agree with that because those ones they did their jobs to where I'm just like I was all the lights were on in the house and
Oh,
I
you are
could
so
not sleep.
funny.
I'm a baby.
You're a
I am
baby.
I'm such a scaredy cat. Oh,
Well, okay, let's talk about that then. What is your favorite all-time scary movie, like paranormal scary movie that you could actually like watch and
I
appreciate?
wouldn't I wouldn't say I had a favorite or I have a favorite. I could tell you the scariest was probably oof, oh man. I just slipped my mind. I'd say the scariest movie that I recall seeing was Friend Request.
Hmm.
And it's not a popular one. It's not one that did crazy gangbuster numbers at the box office.
That was a good one
But
though.
that one was one where I was like, it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
You
Is
know,
that
when
wait,
I
that's the one
honestly
where it's
didn't
all
think
over
it would.
FaceTime, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. That,
That's a good
and I
movie.
think maybe because it's in the era of social media,
Hmm.
you know, all kinds of weird. It was like a paranormal activity type of movie, but it wasn't.
Hmm.
So, but that one I remember being like, okay, that was the scariest movie I've seen of all
Yeah.
time. Is it my favorite? Probably not. none of them are really my favorites. I just rank them as like scare
Yep.
level. Like, okay, this movie brought it up to here, this movie brought it down to here, this movie was there. Then I'm
Yep.
like, okay, that movie wasn't scary at all. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, not scary
Not
at
scary,
all.
but it's a fun watch.
Not scary at all. It's a fun watch. It's an
Yeah.
action movie, but it ain't no horror movie like they were trying to make it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say that one. And the rest are more so like slasher movies and jump scares that I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you'd really classify them as horror movies.
Yeah. I like them all. I would say if anybody wants a truly, so if anybody's a crazy horror fanatic like I am, I will say number one scariest movie I've ever seen is called High Tension, and I think it's actually based off of a Swedish film, so I think you have to watch it in English subtitles. That one I will
Okay.
actually never watch again, so that's how much it scared me. Um, and
High
I
tension.
love
Okay.
love horror movies. Yeah, don't watch it. You're going to be too scared. Don't do it.
I'm not. Oh, hell no. You ain't got to tell me twice.
Now I kind of want to make you watch it. Maybe we'll do a movie
Oh,
night where we watch a
no.
movie.
Oh, I'm, as long as you're there with me, I will watch it. But
And
until
then
then,
the second one that I'll never watch again, but it was just a beautiful cinematic masterpiece, was Hereditary. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
I have only because it's an A24 movie. I
Hmm.
just thought it was weird. I didn't think it was one bit scary. I just thought it was weird.
Are you kidding me?
It was
Okay.
just it was a weird movie to where I'm eating my popcorn and then I lost my appetite while eating my
Yeah.
popcorn. I'm just like, okay,
So
weird.
my
You're
favorite
not
horror
eating the
movies.
rest of this movie.
Well, what they do, so if you ever want to know like a true good scary movie is when it's not like, oh, like Jason's coming to cut you up. It's more of like where it
Well,
makes
yeah.
you feel just dread inside. And that's what Hereditary made me feel. So I love A24. Shout
Okay.
out to them. Love, love, love them. I will never watch that
Yes.
movie ever again. So,
Okay, that was number two. What's number three?
oh, number three. Oh my gosh. What's it called? It's Halloween, but it's based off of it's one of the Halloween movies, but it's Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie is the third one that I can't watch. So I know that there's a lot of Halloween starting
Oh, it
from
was
the
one of the
70s.
remakes.
Mm-hmm. Rob
Okay,
Zombie,
okay.
man. He knows how to do it. So I think it's Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie remake, and that
All right.
one terrified the living crap out of me. So,
That was three.
uh,
You got
yeah.
two more.
No. My favorite movie, well, so Conjuring is always in my top five. The first
Okay.
Conjuring movie is such a rewatchable movie. I absolutely love it. But if you guys actually want to know my favorite scary movies to watch is any of the Paranormal Activity movies. All of them.
All of them. You heard it there,
That's what,
ladies and
10? There you
gentlemen.
go.
Yeah, well, that's like, yeah, slasher movies, it could go to like 50.
Hmm.
Um, but true scary movies, yeah, there's probably like about 10 of them. But
Yep.
that's wild. That's wild. You have anything else to add?
No, just go read the history of The Conjuring if you want to appreciate it. Please do it. It's such a good story. Shout out to the podcaster that I listen to. His name is Van's World or Vaughn's World. And he is the one who interviewed Andrea and where I got most of the information from. So go watch that too. It's amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. We're gonna keep talking more about this stuff about being paranoia from scary movies, because it is rather interesting, and there is always a story to be told when it comes to this that will keep
Mhm.
you up at night. So don't watch this at night. Watch it in the daytime or listen to it at night. And I am gonna go watch some Mickey Mouse Clubhouse right now,
Oh
as
my
I am
God.
utterly scared.
Nope.
So
I'm gonna go
it's
watch
your
a scary
boy.
movie.
Of course you are.
I
Of
know.
course you are. It's your boy Hollywood AJ. That's Mrs. Alley. We'll see y'all in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. We're on the come up, y'all. We're getting there slowly but surely. And we'll
Hmm.
see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.